Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Giada Rapalino, and I work as business developer at Assortis. I am happy to be your moderator for this session. And today with me, I'd like to introduce also the colleagues from Consulting Ireland. It's a leading advisory organization specialized in supporting businesses to succeed in international markets. And we have here Thomas Martin, he's the director, and also Gary Clifford, who is public sector contracting expert. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Good. So, few rule of the house. We will have our Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So you can already start to type your question in the chat box. There are also some materials in the handout section of the webinar tool that you can download. There are some flyers on the Assortis services and our events. And the reason why we're here today is because we have this exciting announcement that is Assortis and Consulting Ireland are partnering together. And this is for your benefits, and this is why we're here. We believe that through this partnership, you will gain access to the range of high value service that can strengthen your tendering activity and project implementation. We'll dive into the details shortly, but as you have noticed, we have already launched a poll. We wanted to know how does government contracting and public tendering align with your company's strategic priorities? And we will share the results in a couple of minutes. But first, let me briefly introduce Assortis and how we support organizations like yours. So since 2000, Assortis has been the most complete and enduring source of intelligence in the international development and cooperation sector, serving the business community across all the continents. Our mission is to simplify the work of all actors by collecting and providing intelligence on development projects on one hand, and connecting the business community with cooperation opportunities on the other hand. So how do we bridge all the actors operating in the international cooperation and development community? Well, we want to enhance access and knowledge to the information. We offer intelligence on call for tenders and proposal and cooperation opportunities for all the countries. So we have a global coverage in all the different technical sectors that are normally covered by development aid. And we also link country-specific needs with high-quality expertise, both through the technical experts that are in our network, but also through all the organizations that we are mapping that are actually holding expertise and experience on the implementation of these projects. And then we connect organizations and we support the development of local partnership with them. So in general, we serve also as an interface between the donors, the governments, the private sector, and the civil sector. Now, I'd like you to have a very quick overview of the services that we provide for the organizations. We have our all-inclusive package called Daily Tender Alerts, which is giving real-time access to procurement notices, shortlists, contract awards in the key sectors and the countries that you will be targeting. We offer access to our network of technical consultants to support your project implementation, giving access to our expert database. We also have a board, the job posting board, where you can recruit the technical consultants sharing your targeted job posting. We also offer the CVIP. It's a CV database to securely register and manage the CVs of your expert in a private database accessible to your organization only. Then we have the Writing Center, where we find, actually, we put you in contact with professional writers or graphic designers, language editors, technical proofreaders to assist in the proposal writing. And we also have the Training Academy. The Training Academy is offering different type of trainings to acquire, let's say, soft skills, and then some other type of trainings which are more in-depth, specifically related to the procurement procedure. And we have a pretty dense portfolio of courses that we offer on almost a weekly basis. Coming up next Monday, we have a web training on the main changes brought by the new version of the Prague published by the European Commission. So I invite you to have a look at all our offer there. And last, we also organize networking events, in particular the Net for Dev event. It's a digital event connecting all the different stakeholders in the sector. So it means that we have there the donors. For example, for this edition, we're going to host the Asian Development Bank, the representatives from the Belgian Cooperation Annabel, and the Team Europe representatives from the European Commission. They are going to attend the event. They're going to deliver a presentation of their activity and their funding opportunities. And at the same time, we give the possibility to all participants to organize B2Bs, to connect with each other, to present and to pitch their activities and to introduce cooperation opportunities. So have a look at the Net4Dev website for further insights. And of course, you should also benefit from the fact that we have this early bird rate now. So you will have the chance to register for just €150 to participate to the all 3 days of the event. Right. So let's go back to why we're here today, why the partnership between Assortis and Consulting Ireland is beneficial to you. So the idea is that it's providing you with a more comprehensive. So definitely what we thought would be very consequential and very logical was to partner with Consulting Ireland. And yes, the idea is that they can require this strategic preparation, help you to get a stronger bid management capacity, and to help you and support you in the effective project execution. So I would like to leave the floor to the colleagues so that they can explain better. But first, I'd like to look at the results of the poll so they can also comment them for us. Okay, so here we go. The majority is definitely for top priority. As I can see, we have, yes, top priority, we actively pursue and prepare for contracts. So we have a well-prepared audience. And then we have a slight percentage who's saying that it's not a priority for us at this time. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the poll. I think it's now, I would like to leave the floor to Thomas and Gary. Maybe if you also want to comment on the poll results.
Yes, thanks very much, Gera, and good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Thomas Martin, and I'm the Director of Consulting Ireland and International Network Partners. So it's very interesting, yeah, good to hear that it's a top priority. I think the main question now is, what are the strategies towards any companies that has been put in place, that has been working for companies? I think that's a great, probably a good question, and would understand a bit better about that. So just to do I know the time is very limited, so I just want to, it's a pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar, organized in partnership with Assortis. As Giada said, together we'll explore how businesses like yours can win government contracts on a global scale. I think, in Consulting Ireland, we've built our reputation on practical expertise, and we spent over a decade helping companies navigate the complexities of international public procurement. So today, I think we want to share how our expertise can help you unlock opportunities in this exciting but challenging market. So on the slide number 2. So just to give a little brief overview of who we are. So we were established in 2010 with the support of Enterprise Ireland, which is a government body dedicated to supporting Irish businesses in growing their international footprint. While our name might suggest an Irish focus, we're actually truly global. Over the years, we've worked all around the world, more than 100 countries across every continent. Our team and collaborators have over 30 years of expertise in international business development, consultancy, market access, with a strong track record in international public procurement, government relations, and working with IFIs. Our client range from SMEs to large corporations. We've collaborated with governments, international organizations, including the European Commission, the World Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and other international financial institutions. What sets us apart is not just our experience, but our practical, result-driven approach. I think we don't just advise, we connect, facilitate, and create opportunities. Our strong international partnerships allow us to act as a bridge between the public and private sectors, ensuring businesses have the tailored support they need to succeed. If you can put the next slide, please. So, as we said, we have facilitated over 200 successful projects worldwide across a wide range of sectors, including mostly ICT, but energy, health, education, transport, agriculture, just to name a few. Many of these projects are funded by international financing institutions, presenting a vast market opportunity, as you know, for businesses looking to expand globally. Every day, as you know, thousands of tenders are issued across the world, but navigating this space is complex, as you know. That's where we come in. We help businesses identify the right opportunities, and that's where also Assortis is very important, building strong consortia and craft competing proposals to maximize your chances of success. Our approach is hands-on and result-driven. As I said before, we don't just advise, we work alongside you, leveraging our expertise in international public procurement, government relations, and IFI-funded projects to ensure your bids are both competitive and impactful. Thank you. So as we said, our success is built on strong, trusted partnerships. Over the past decade, we've cultivated a robust network, as you can see, of collaborators across Europe and beyond, including regional governments, chambers of commerce, universities, all working together to connect businesses with opportunities. This brings me to the partnership with Assortis. As Giada said, we've been working over a decade with Assortis, and they have been cornerstones of our success, providing valuable market intelligence and visibility into global tenders. Our role in Consulting Ireland is to provide practical support, helping businesses understand and respond to these tenders effectively. And together we combine with Assortis insights with our practical expertise to help companies succeed in international procurement. And now I'd like to introduce you to Gary Clifford, a longtime collaborator and one of our most trusted partners. Actually, Gary is currently in Barbados, working on a project funded by the Inter-American Development Bank. Gary, tell me if I'm wrong. Another example of how being actively engaged in securing global contracts can open doors. Gary will now take you through our tender review service, which is tailored for all businesses, whether new to tendering, those with a poor track record, or successful bidders aiming for larger contracts. This service helps businesses improve their bid success by learning from past submission and refining their strategies. So, Gary, I'll pass on to you.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Giada, for the introduction at the beginning. And again, thank you, Thomas, for that introduction. Just a quick endorsement. In my own right, I use Assortis pretty much every day. So that's an important feature of this presentation. And no less importantly, of course, is the relationship that I have with Thomas. He mentioned that I'm a colleague, but we're also friends. And I think that's key as well. We've developed this relationship over the last, nearly 15 years now, particularly with himself and also his co-director as well. And it's interesting to note that obviously Yada, I believe she's based in Brussels. I believe Thomas is up there in Dublin. And as he said, I'm phoning you from Barbados today, and we all have a unique perspective on government contracting and tendering for the public sector. Okay. So what I'm going to do over the next sort of 4 or 5 slides is I'm going to give you just a high-level overview of the tender review service that's being pioneered by Consulting Ireland. I've been supporting them on this feature for some time, and I believe it will offer your company, whether you are it is a priority today sector, because I'm sure there's always opportunities for us to learn from each other, and I believe that, again, Consulting Ireland in this regard has got a huge repertoire of projects and references, as Thomas explained earlier, that they can call upon to support the weird and wonderful projects that are out there, but also the standard ones that keep coming up over and over again, such as opportunities in construction, telecommunications, social care, and so on and so forth. Okay. So in these 4 or 5 slides, as I mentioned, I am going to give you just a quick overview of me, and just sort of proving my credentials more than anything else. I'm sure you'll take the guy's words for it that I'm pretty much an expert in this area, but I'll just tell you what I'm doing anyway. I'll then just give you a high-level overview of some of the sort of the features of the tender review service and how it takes you from pain to glory, I suppose, at a high level. And then I'll dive into some of the details of what that will uncover. Some of that detail will appear on the slide in front of you. Some of it I've got on a separate screen here, because there is an awful lot of detail that goes into these public contracts, as some of the audience will be well aware. Okay, so I'll dive into some of that, and obviously I will then refer you back to Thomas as he closes off the presentation. Okay, you'll notice, like my colleagues at Assortis, there's a little red star in the bottom hand corner of my screen. So when I finish this particular slide, I will invite my colleagues at Assortis to upload a poll, and I'll give you 60 seconds to respond to that poll as an audience member. So I encourage you to get your fingers ready and press that poll as quickly as you can to give us the answers that we need to aid the conversation and help us as presenters give you the information we can to support your business moving forward. Okay, so there are a couple of polls coming up after this one. As I said, get your fingers ready and help us with a few answers. So as I said already, I haven't quite finished that poll yet, but you can start with the presentation. I'll keep going on. So as I said, I'm a Consulting Ireland associate. I have been for quite some time now. But I also manage my own company as well. So in addition to supporting Consulting Ireland with this tender review service, I have vast experience of competing for international contracts at home and abroad. I do so through my own company. As I said, I use tools that Assortis provide, and I hope I really know what's going on in this international space. Okay. I was formerly a director of research and innovation at a UK university. And that UK university obviously was prioritizing research contracts, which, as some of you will know, requires a vast amount of information and a depth of information that only some of these research councils can offer. So that shows the in-depth knowledge that one has to have. And again, I was very successful in making sure that university certainly punched above its weight. And I believe that's something I can help you with, and the team at Consulting Ireland can help you with when pursuing these contracts. As I said, I'm currently in Barbados. I'm working on a contract. I'm working actually on several contracts, believe it or not, some of which are funded by the Caribbean Development Bank, and others are funded by other institutions whose name escape me, but I know they are coming through the government of Barbados. Okay. Previously, I've also worked with the World Bank, and I know Thomas dropped in a few keywords about international financial institutions. These are obviously agencies that are funding largely economic development projects around the world. So the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the Caribbean Development Bank, the European Investment Bank, the list kind of goes on and on and on. I think Assortis list, I'm going to guess 200 plus of these institutions that you can actually gain opportunities from. And to be honest with you, I view them pretty much every single day. I will scour those opportunities to see what me and my colleagues and Consulting Ireland as our partners can actually achieve, because we believe we've got the skills and capabilities to do that. Consulting Ireland, because of their track record over the years and because of the knowledge that they've got, can cover things like health, education, as I said, telecommunications, transport, a whole host of sectors, basically. And this is important because some of you will already know some of these types of contracts will appear in certain countries and they will repeat in other countries as those countries are going through their development focus. So probably a top tip is find out where your business is operating right now, and if there's a country that is slightly less developed, shall we say, I pretty much will bet that they will be advertising opportunities similar to ones that you may have done before. So go and find those type of countries. And again, I know Assortis manages opportunities by country as well. So I think that's pretty cool. And you can kind of see where you want to target in the world. I'm fortunate that we are here in the Caribbean. And again, there's plenty of opportunities out here that myself, colleagues and businesses that I work for can help. So the poll, I can already see that you guys have done that while I was speaking, and then I will jump now into the tender review section. So let me just have a quick look at that. We have dedicated resources and a clear strategy in place. I think that's the majority of everyone. So again, whilst you have a clear strategy in place and the dedicated resources, I believe an extra pair of hands won't go amiss in what you're doing, because again, we can all learn. I've been doing it for the best part of 20 years. And I'm always asking people like Thomas and his co-directors there, another chap called Seamus, for their support and help in accessing new doors and new areas of the world that I would like to work in. So again, please reach out to Thomas at the end of this presentation. Interested but struggle. Could I see the poll results again, please, just so I can comment on a couple of those stats? I think interested in pursuing, again, if you've had time to compete for opportunities in the past, again, I would encourage you to look at this tender review service, because we'd like to see what you've done in the past. And by seeing what you've done in the past, we can help you with the future. The tender writing services that Assortis offer, again, are excellent in terms of nudging you along, and that's great. We take a slightly different perspective on that. We just take a look at what you've done before and then see how we can help you improve and provide those tools to allow you to help you improve, which then in turn could be complemented by Assortis' writing team. So there's a lot of crossovers here, but some very much complementary things. So again, struggle time. There is things that you can do to that, and I'll talk about that in a second. And we'll get onto those in a bit, but it still requires effort, a huge amount of effort, even to get these things up and running. Don't actively pursue government contracts, complexity. Yes, but we've got to try and get over that if you want to increase and diversify your income stream for your companies, for example, if that is a priority. Fab. If we can move on to the next slide, please. So as I said, I'm going to concentrate on 3 slides now. These are very high level, like very market friendly. As you can see, the ouch moment is obviously not a procurement term, but it's something certainly that you will be very familiar with when competing for these tenders. There's a movie called Moneyball. I don't know how many of you would have actually seen the movie called Moneyball, which is led by a chap called Brad Pitt. It's about an American baseball team that is the Oakland Raiders, or Athletic, I think they're called, and they are a small league team that are competing against the big boys. And I feel like a small league team competing against the big boys in these markets all the time. And I'll tell you what, I will punch above my weight all day long, and I'll encourage you to do so as well. We should not be afraid to lose. In fact, I think I've taken losing these opportunities a mantra, because I know if I lose 10, I will win 1, or if I lose 8, I will win 2. And I don't care about losing. And I think that's a mindset that I've put on myself and my colleagues, and I think that's a mindset that you should have too. Losing only teaches me to win further. And there's a saying in that movie that says, I hate losing more than I love winning, and I love winning. Okay, and I think this is, again, a mindset that you should put into your organization, whether you are actually writing these responses or you are the CEO. Okay, often I find that the leader of the organization is probably not the best person to write these tenders, but they're certainly the best person to sort of review them in great detail when it comes to actually making that submission. But you might not be the best person to write these applications. You certainly need a certain mindset, a very methodical mindset in order to do that. So losing tenders hurts, and we are here to help you get those results right. And through this tender review service, by reviewing past performance, we can certainly help you do that. Next slide. We have a bank of expert evaluators in Consulting Ireland. As I said, they cover all sorts of weird and wonderful sectors, and there is probably, dare I say, Thomas, there's probably no opportunity that between us that we would not have seen or commented on historically. We are very familiar with the structure of the way that the World Bank asks for information. We are very familiar with the way that the Caribbean Development Bank asks for information. And just knowing that foundational structure allows us then to rapidly produce an opportunity or a response to an opportunity that allows us to compete for those opportunities as well. Okay, so the key moment of this one is the aha moment, as we are describing it, because yes, it hurts to lose, but through the work that's going on within Consulting Ireland, we can certainly turn that ouch to an aha to try and help you with the way that you're competing. And again, I will go into a little bit more detail about this in a second, but we have expert evaluators to help you and your organization. Next slide, please. I think it takes a little bit of time to pop on my screen. So that winning moment, again, like I said at the previous slide, there is no feeling like winning. And again, we all like to win. Unfortunately, we have to lose along the way too. But winning is what we are focused on. It keeps putting money in our pockets. It keeps our employees going, and it keeps our regions economically healthy wherever we are in the world. Okay, so we are here to provide you expert feedback on all aspects of your tender review proposal. And I will invite Assortis to just pop up a poll while I sort of continue this discussion separately. So we have all the experts you need between us to help you with this. Okay, so another poll is going to come up, but while that poll is going to come up, I'm going to talk to you now about the actual detail of the tender review service, an acronym we use, TRS. We love acronyms in this world of public procurement, so why not end there? We'll do this with the tender review service too. Okay, so another poll has popped up on the screen there. Again, get your fingers ready and press those buttons to let us know your thoughts on that particular question. Okay, so I've got a list of things on the right-hand side of my screen that I use as a sort of an aid memoir when I'm actually competing for my own opportunities. And this aid memoir is also things that I will support. When I say we are a team here at Consulting Ireland. There's more than me doing this. We will help you look for these things or develop these things in the organization. So, for example, things that we will look for and seek from you from the off is your corporate profile, what it is you do, where you're strong, where you're weak, areas of the world that you're interested in, areas of the world that you're not interested in. We would need to find out about your key personnel. These may be people within your organization or associates that you work with, or indeed like friends like Thomas, who we work with to see what their strengths and weaknesses are. Client references. Thomas mentioned right at the start of the presentation that they've got hundreds of references, and I can assure you that they've probably got hundreds more references that you don't know about, because I've seen their client list and it is fantastic. Those references are absolutely key. They are formatted in a very clear method so that a buyer can see that Thomas and the team there are highly trusted people when it comes to delivery and making an impact in the world. Okay, and again, this is something that I endorse in my own organization, and we spend an awful lot of time making sure that those references are very, not bespoke, but they are tailored towards the opportunities that we pursue. Project portfolio is very similar to the client references, just saying what projects you're doing. It's a mirror sort of area. Things that we don't really comment on, but we are more than happy to provide advice, is in the financial aspects of a proposal. This is obviously it can be cultural, it can be regional, it may be just on the caliber of your staff. So you may be willing to pitch them lower in certain countries because you know that market is operating slightly different, maybe from wealthier markets around the world. So we can help you with the financial aspects of it and give you ballparks based upon our expertise thus far. But we kind of leave that area of the proposal to yourselves, and we invite you to ask us rather than us tell you how to do it, if you know what I mean. So the financial aspects are important. And quality assurance. We will spend an inordinate amount of time working with you on making sure that the quality of everything that you are putting together is on point. Okay, we know that when we are competing for these opportunities that the buyer is looking for many things, but the way that these things are presented in a very methodical and simplistic fashion is paramount. Okay. And then there are things that we will go into huge amount of depth in, depending on the regions of the world that want these type of services. So we'd have all heard this is a bit of a buzzword bingo now, so just keep up with me for a second. Net zero. Okay, some areas of the world are absolutely driven toward net zero targets. So again, you need a policy that lines with that net zero. Fair wage policies. Certain areas of the world are geared towards offering fair wages for people. Okay, and you need a policy on that one. Social values and community benefits, how you're engaging with the local market and how you're ensuring local employment is key within your proposal. Again, a policy on that one. And when I say policies, I mean these need to be acted upon, not just words on a page. Modern slavery, innovation strategies, health and safety, environmental sustainability, public procurement laws and policies of the region. These need to be things that you either know or you can call upon Consulting Ireland and by extension Assortis to solve, really. Diversity and inclusion policies. Some of you listening to maybe the US current direction, we won't go into politics today, but diversity and inclusion is obviously a hot topic there at the moment. And again, it's a hot topic within public institutions. I know my own country is pro-diversity and inclusion in all aspects, and that's in Wales in the UK. And again, it's an area that you need to be aware of, okay? So, as I said, those are the things that make up the TRS. It is large. There's lots of complex areas that need to be joined together. So how we support you with the TRS is we look at what you've done in the past, what you've got, what you haven't got, and then we help you fill the gaps as quickly as humanly possible. Because again, you could fail next month by using this support, but you will have the tools that will allow you to compete for things beyond next month. We will allow you to see things through the eyes of the procurer. I've been on both sides of the fence in terms of helping companies win, but also looking at it from public authorities and buyers' perspective. So we will make sure that the language that you're using is compliant with what a procurer sees and what they want. Thomas is the master of the art of persuasion. I'll certainly give him that all day long, and by extension, he promotes that type of art of persuasion to the clients that he works with. And we'll be certainly trying to do that with you. We need to persuade people that you are indeed the best in your field. We need to make sure that you are the Oakland A's trying to compete against the Red Sox. You need to think like the Red Sox, even though you are the Oakland A's in the earlier analogy that I gave regarding the Moneyball movie. A treasure chest of resources. I rattled out some keywords that are certainly high level, but they are keywords that you need to be familiar with. And again, we will help you explore those keywords by giving you the tools that you need to make sure that a buyer, that you can convince a buyer that you know what you're doing in all of those areas, whether it's things from net zero all the way down to diversity and inclusion. And ultimately, when you leave the Consulting Ireland service, we will boost your confidence to compete for these things. Next slide, please. I think that's coming in. And again, after this next slide, if I can just conclude with the poll results after that, but I'll ask you to pop that up on screen if that's okay, Assortis. Compliance is key. Okay, so again, let me just give you a personal example here. So I'm in Barbados. I have won lots of contracts here, and that's fantastic for my organization. And one of the weird and wonderful things is that now I need to become a company in Barbados, an officially registered company here. Okay, that process has taken about 2 months. That was not done overnight. And again, if you're competing in these countries, they may have laws in place that encourage you, dare I say, demand you to actually be a part of their government systems. And again, you need to be prepared for that in your future deliberations. Some of the international funded contracts do not require you to do that because they are quite open in terms of cross-border competing for pieces of work. But again, just have that in mind. Policy integration is obviously what I talked to you about now. There's a plethora of those in place. Competitive edge is clearly where Consulting Ireland will come in, calling upon hundreds of references. they can impart that knowledge onto you guys to make sure that you're conforming and hitting above the targets that the buyer is trying to do. I'll concentrate mainly on the risk bit and the knowledge-based development. The risk mitigation, so even I was in a meeting yesterday, and while these buyers were saying that we're trying to be less risk averse, the reality is that there's still risks, and they still want to manage those risks. And during the course of your presentation, we must make sure, the presentation of your proposal, that is, to the opportunity, we must make sure that all your risks are managed and mitigated against, so that the buyer is confident that you are the right organization to win that work. And on occasion, I have seen that they are even willing to pay a little bit more to make sure that that risk is managed, certainly within these government organizations. And finally, you've probably heard this a million times, and some of you are obviously very competent in this area as well, that knowledge-based development. I've spent years building up a knowledge bank of things that I have that I can call off in an instant. I noticed that one of the participants, or more of the participants, said that this is time consuming. I could probably put a decent tender proposal together in 3 or 4 days, where 10 years ago it would probably take me a couple of weeks. So again, the speed of application, using the tools that we have available, such as cloud-based services, dare I say artificial intelligence, allows me to compete for things that I couldn't compete for yesterday. And that's a very interesting feature. So so if you could just flash up the poll results from the last poll, that would be fantastic. Okay, we have okay, fab. So we have extensive experience, strong track record. Again, like I said earlier, it would be it's still great to tap into the Consulting Ireland work, and by extension, Assortis' work, to extend that portfolio of opportunities. There's no harm in doing that. Guidance to improve our success rate. Obviously, you guys are prime TRS recipients, tender review recipients, and I would encourage you, based on this very high level presentation, may I add, that there are services out there for you within the partnership between Assortis and Consulting Ireland to help your business grow into the areas of the world that you are keen to win these projects. And on that note, I'll pass back to Thomas now, who will conclude this presentation. As I said, there's a lot of detail in there, but it's all at a higher level. If you wanted to get into a greater amount of depth with some of these conversations and topics that I raised, then be sure to contact Thomas at the end, and he will explain what those services are and how to contact us next. So back to you, Thomas.
Okay, thanks very much, Gary. As you can see now in Gary's presentation, our tender review service is a game changer for businesses looking to improve their tendering outcomes. So it's not just about reviewing submission, but like Gary said, it's about learning from them, identifying areas of improvement, and ensuring your bids are aligned with evaluator expectations. So thanks very much, Gary, for that insight. I just want to say, just in a nutshell, and I know that Giada and the Assortis team will share that presentation, but just to give a quick overview of what Consulting Ireland can offer as well. We also provide different services like global opportunity tracking, which is the Assortis platform, and we've all been using the Assortis for a long time, but we also do training, mentoring. We also do bid support for complex projects and much more. But we'll leave you, all our information is on our website, and we'll leave you with this. Just on the next slide, please. Before also just to wrap up the presentation, we also like to share an exclusive offer for our Assortis members attending this webinar today. So basically, it's a free 30 minutes online consultation where we can discuss all your specific challenges and provide actionable insights, like Gary mentioned. And we're also happy to provide 20% discount on our tender review service, giving you access to expert guidance at a reduced cost. To finish, in conclusion, so international public procurement offers significant opportunities, as you know, and you're all in that space. but success requires the right strategy and support. We at Consulting Ireland, we're here to partner with you every step of the way, helping you identify opportunities and craft winning bids. I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to Gary for his invaluable insight today. And I know he had to wake up early in Barbados, and to Assortis for partnering with us on this webinar. Our collaboration with Assortis has been crucial in helping businesses like yours access global opportunities. If you have any questions or would like to explore how we can support your goals further, please feel free to reach out using the contact details at the end of the presentation. Thanks again for your time today, and we'll be happy to connect and work together.
Thank you, Thomas, and thank you so much, Gary, for your presentations, for your insights on how the participants of the webinar here, and I think we have mixed. Some of them are Assortis members, some they are not. So it's going to be pretty interesting for them also to have this complete overview, because bottom line, what we really are aiming at here is to integrate our offering and to give you really the complete overview on all the different steps of the project cycle. So you can be really accompanied by us to offering you this personalized support. As the colleagues have mentioned, Consulting Ireland is really working closely with you to refine the strategy, strengthen the proposal, really to something that is very much tailored on your needs. So you should not miss this opportunity. What the colleagues have said, you can reach out for further information. You can see on screen that we are sharing the contacts from Martin, the email address that you can reach out. Also, if you want, you can write to us at info@assortis.com. We are going to direct the question also directly to them. We are opening the floor now to your question. So you are free to type them in the chat box. You see it in this webinar tool. You have the section for questions. So maybe we leave you a few moments so that you can collect your thoughts and see what you might be interested in asking.
And don't be shy.
Don't be shy, exactly. Okay. So here it comes, the first question. You just have to say that. So how is the tender review service different from other bid writing and review services? Wants to take that?
Gary, you want to go?
Yeah, I can, yeah. How is it different? How is it different? Specifically, how it's different is we will look backwards in order to look forwards. Okay. Traditionally, it will require a tender review. Traditionally, tender writing support will look at the opportunity that you have in front of you and then help you win that opportunity based upon what they see. Okay. That is a sort of a one-shot attempt at winning that opportunity. The tender review service looks at what you have as an organization. I dare I say it's not just about tendering, it's about actually developing your organization to compete for opportunities regardless of what they are in the future at any time. So it will take a look at a snapshot view of your organization when it competed for its last public opportunity. It will take a look at all those policies that I mentioned earlier on, if you have them in place, and if you do not, we will encourage you to write them or write them with you. And then because it's taking a look at what you've got in place as a business, we will then put all the tools that you require to compete for all opportunities in the future, not just one opportunity. Okay, so we have helped companies write tenders, individual tenders before, and that's very much just writing specifically for that one single opportunity, and that's fine. But we'd rather take the opportunity to look at your organization as a whole and make sure that we put in all the pieces of the puzzle so that you can compete for any opportunity in the future. The hundreds of people that have actually been through the tender review service, which was originally funded by a European organization, I can't remember which one right now, when we were working with Consulting Ireland on this, we we proved that through this service that we were able to increase the turnover of the company by a very large percentage, which escapes me right now. And we were able to do that. We weren't just helping them compete for one opportunity, we were helping them build their business so that they compete for any opportunity. So that's how I would say it was different. Obviously, it's all about writing skills and writing presentation, and that is the same with regards to any tender writing support. But this is about building your business to compete for all opportunities in the future. So that's how I would say it was different. I'm sure Thomas can add to that as well.
Yes. So when we worked as well, I think that was you referred to the COSME program when we were working on our regional program with the Chamber of Paris, Catalonian, the regional government of Catalonia. What we saw as well with the companies when we're working on those tender review service, it was also they presented some tenders that they lost, and I think there was a lot of learning from losing tenders because we've been working and with Gary to identify most common mistake, and by reviewing a tender that was lost, we could saw and rectify some of the common mistake to get better also in the future. So that's what I would add to Gary's comment.
Right. Thank you so much. We have a next question. So is it advisable for state-owned entities to tender for government contracting / opportunities?
That's a great question. I have no real experience of state-owned entities competing for public contracts, if I'm being brutally honest with you. We tend to work with, obviously, private entities competing for public opportunities. State-owned entities, that would be a question that I can't answer directly. So I have no experience of working with state-owned entities. Thomas, I'm not sure about you.
But we've partnered in the past with a state-owned with an entity, and actually they were happy because they didn't understand also the procurement process. So we had a consortium and we partner as well. So I would say sometimes it's good to have synergies with small private and companies as well with public entities. It's all about, I would say, partnering and finding the right combination. A smaller company could bring value as well to that public entity, and we've seen that in the past.
I think I agree also on the fact that being a state-owned entity per se, being a public utility or state-owned entity per se, doesn't prevent from participating unless it's clearly stated in the invitation to bid somewhere, in the eligibility criteria and so on. So I don't think that it is we can answer or if it is advisable, but rather it has to be probably seen case by case.
Yes, but for in reference in the near past, we've been tendered for a EU program, EU projects, €2 million projects, and it was about the consumer education, and we've partnered with the Ministry of Finance in France, and they were so we were able to bring a whole consortium, so there was absolutely no problem. And actually, the fact that we had all different entities plus that big organization, it gave us a good advantage to win that tender.
Absolutely right. So another question is, do you help finding suitable partners for consortium bidding?
Yes. I think that's one of the points, and I think that's the purpose of our relationship with Assortis. The first step is obviously identifying opportunities. Then is to choose, obviously, in all those opportunities, which ones are we gonna go after, and I would say before deciding for the go or no go is to decide where are our good relationships, how can we build consortium, how can we find partnership. Gary mentioned previously that it's important as well now in the policies to also to integrate local partners, and we believe that's something very essential in bidding. And it's just to find we always say find the right partners and the network, and that's where we come from, is building that network is so important, because before bidding we need to have the team right.
Thank you, Thomas.
Just a quick comment on that one. We spend a lot of time trying to find the right partners, and again, it'll depend on your personality more than anything else. The ability to pick up the phone, the ability to use the Assortis' tools, LinkedIn to some degree. Personally, I tend to pick up the phone to people like Thomas and say, "Hey, Thomas, I need to compete for something in the island of St. Lucia. Do you have a contact here?" Thomas will usually turn around and say yes, because he's an extremely well-connected guy, and the network of consulting islands are vast. Thomas may return that call by saying, "Gary, do you know somebody in Eastern Europe that can help me with this?" And I'll turn around to him and I'll say, "Yes, absolutely. I've got a contact out in here that can help you." Again, it'll depend on your career thus far. Having worked in a university environment for 15 odd years, it kind of opens doors, shall we say, and people treat that as sort of a non-competitive environment working in that area. So between Thomas and I and our networks, I don't think there's many countries that we can't get somebody within that can help an organization. And I'm certainly sure with the Assortis tools now that can be extended further. But I try and get the personal touch. I need to find somebody who somebody trusts rather than doing anything else. So I'd encourage you to contact Thomas and see if that door can be opened within a couple of calls, rather than trying to delve into the LinkedIn of this world, which I find somewhat limited, to be fair.
But it's good to identify, probably try to find the best partner, and there's different way. Like we also found some good partners through Assortis, because that's the market intelligence bits. If we're bidding for contracts in Colombia, for example, we're going to see who were in specific sector. We can see through Assortis who won previous contracts in Colombia. Obviously, it's going to be a Spanish-speaking country. So once we can identify and we can see, then we can go through our network and try to get in contact, like Gary said, personal contact through our network. Now, like we said, we have, for example, different partnership with regional governments, like in the Greater Eastern France. So we say if we go in Western Africa, for example, that would be one of our route to find a partner, because they also have the knowledge on the field. The same if we go in South America, we have the region of Catalonia or Andalusia. So there's different way. It's good to do a bit of research, trying to find who would be ideal, and that would be depending on the requirements of the tender, because it's to bring more turnover, to bring reference, to bring different type, and from there, then it's like Gary said, it's good to take the phone and try to find out and build the team from there.
All right, absolutely. Well, I think that you covered also the Assortis side. Thank you, Thomas, with this reference to our database for looking for the organizations. What to say? We're very excited about this collaboration and how it can benefit you. So I really encourage you to reach out to Thomas directly, as we were saying, and we look really forward to supporting your success. We are there for you. I think this is it. We thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody. And thanks, Giada and Nia, for organizing that webinar.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary, you can put your swimming trousers now. Go back to the sea.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the only work that I'm doing today, so yeah, I'll be swimming later.
Okay.
All right.
Everybody to attend for the webinar. Thanks very much.
Thank you so very much. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye. See you later. Bye.